Hello, and welcome to the ADGM Think series, where we explore what leaders across the financial markets really think. My name is Chris Hughes, and I am the editor of Abu Dhabi Finance Week. It's great to be with you. Thanks for joining us. Well, we all know that the world is continuing to witness pretty profound change in lots of different ways. Of course, the opportunities of this change are pretty much well understood, but change also brings risk. Financial crime is one of those risks, and it is a very real and evolving problem. It's been recently described as an issue of international security. Not only is the scale of illicit activity resulting from financial crime in the trillions, think about that, the trillions, but the impact of this crime on markets, on economies, on society, and most importantly, on people is very profound. With us today, we have a guest speaker who spends his days thinking about these issues, about market risks, about financial crime. And as CEO of Themis, he is designing a platform that's helping markets to prepare for and plan for the risks of financial crime. Basically, he's helping keep us very safe, and we're very appreciative of that. Themis is an ADGM company and are using advanced digital technologies to help consumers prepare for strategic threats. So I think it's time to dive in. Dickon Johnson, CEO of Themis, you're very welcome to ADGM's Think.
Chris, thank you very much for having me, and delighted to be here.
Glad to have you. We have about, I think, 10 minutes to cover the whole world of financial crime. I think we know it could go on for an hour if we had it. But I'm going to, hopefully take the audience through a whistle-stop tour of the big issues surrounding this. So why is financial crime a top priority for businesses, for societies, for people?
It's a very good question, Chris. Financial crime is big business, as you say. In fact, it's a multi-trillion-dollar per annum business. And it's one that is run not as the movies might suggest by sort of individual con artists or wide boys, but actually by highly sophisticated, highly tech-focused, organized criminal operations. So sadly, financial crime is now in the mainstream, and it's something that affects us all. And I would go as far as saying that we have all either directly been the victim of financial crime, or we know someone directly has. Maybe it's a member of our family, friends, colleagues who have been the victim of some form of financial fraud, or even been hacked, phished, scammed, deep-faked, had their identity stolen, or even witnessed some of the more damaging impacts of grand-scale corruption, or the more hidden crimes, such as the illegal trafficking of animals, people, drugs, arms, etc., etc. And just to put that into context, the UNODC suggests that over 2.7% of global GDP is lost every year to money laundering and other forms of financial crime. So
hang on, 2.7% of global GDP.
Exactly. So that's 2.7% of global GDP every year that is lining the pockets of criminal organizations at the very, very real harm and expense of our businesses, of people, of the economy, and of the environment as well. So it's really, really serious.
Getting bigger?
It is. So as we are operating in a more and more digital economy, criminals are also one step ahead of the curve. And so they're continuously adapting, and they're continuously looking for those loopholes in that sort of financial network for ways they can steal our money, our data, our identities, etc.
That's 2.7% of global GDP and rising. It's a really serious issue.
It's a really serious issue. And actually, in my view, it is one of society's maybe most hidden but serious societal issues.
Yeah.
And that's the shadow economy and the very real harm that is causing to people, to businesses, and to the environment.
The shadow economy.
Yes.
That's a fascinating term. I want to cover you as an individual a little bit now and your own story. Tell me about the moment you first decided, okay, that's it. There's a problem in the market. I think I'm best positioned to build a team that solves it. And you took the leap from, doing what you did before to becoming an entrepreneur, which you are now. What was the problem? And most importantly, how did you feel actually making that leap?
So the light bulb moment, exactly that. So I used to work for a large local bank here in Abu Dhabi.
Right.
And so I spent many, many years directly accountable for financial crime risk, but also looking around the market, looking for solutions that would help us manage the risks that we faced. And frankly, I couldn't find any. I could find lots of different systems that covered part of the risk, but nothing that would actually help me sort of in one system manage my financial crime exposure. And from that point, I started doing some research amongst the CEOs of large banks here in the UAE and internationally. And I found that they were all experiencing the same problem. So they were spending millions and millions of dirhams every year on technologies that frankly weren't set up or parameterized to mitigate their specific business risks. And in many cases, that was exacerbating the problem. So the more they spent on inefficient or inappropriate technologies, the more people they had to hire, the more compliance specialists they had to hire to help mitigate those risks. So as I couldn't find the right solutions to help our organization, call it stupid, call it clever, but I got the right and the best technologists and the best financial crime experts round the table. And we really talked about how are we going to solve this problem? How are we going to come up with a single solution that allows us to manage all of our risk in one place so that we can perform comprehensive due diligence on all of our clients, suppliers, third parties.
It's quite an undertaking to build such a platform. I guess you could call it a platform.
Yes,
There's
exactly.
a single solution to a lot of different, issues. It's a big undertaking, and I assume you have big vision for it.
Yes, absolutely. So we want to be the sort of leading financial crime platform that is trusted by companies and individuals to do all of their due diligence. But interestingly, we're coming at this from a slightly different perspective. So we're not talking about process and legislation, although that is in itself important. The reason we're coming at this is because we're interested in tackling crime and criminal operations. So through our comprehensive system, we're actually protecting businesses from those unwanted or unknown criminal associations. Does that make sense?
It does. So it's effectively a platform, a software serving an enterprise market. But I get the sense that this means something really to you. And what is the angle that you're taking on this issue and why?
Well, we talked at the beginning about the very real damage and harm that financial crime causes on people, on businesses, and on the environment. And when you're exposed to some of those issues, you can really see the day-to-day damage being caused, whether it's through the illegal wildlife trade or issues such as forced labor or drug smuggling or corruption. These are issues that really, really damage businesses, people, and the environment on a daily basis. So at Themis, what we're trying to do is really think about how criminals operate. So again, not coming at it necessarily from a legal and regulatory standpoint, although that is important, but looking at how do criminals operate. And by understanding how criminals operate, we can build that into our platform so that we can provide much, much greater protection to firms to stop them from being unwittingly sort of attacked by criminal associates.
That must be the big challenge for me as an outsider looking in. It feels like trying to understand the mindset of apparently quite large and coordinated criminal enterprises and how they think and deploy damage in society. That must be quite I don't even know how you begin to research that kind of thing, but how, what does that look like?
So our platform is a single solution that allows companies and individuals to do due diligence on any client, supplier, third party or investor to make sure there are no links to that criminality, as you said.
Okay.
But it's powered by our data, our research and our intelligence as well. So we have a really, really fantastic research team who will look at the underlying crimes. And we do a lot of work with the public sector here in the UAE. So governments, regulators, and other AML and CFT bodies looking at the threats, the specific threats that companies in the region here are exposed to. So one, we can pass that learning through the system to our clients, but also our research team are compiling data lists of convicted criminals around those predicate crimes. So we have global watch lists around convicted wildlife traffickers, convicted fraudsters, terrorist financiers, sanctions enablers, etc. And so through our data, you have that access to comprehensive criminal data, so that you know that if you're screening any of your clients against those watch lists, that you're free from that association, so to speak. And that's hugely, hugely important.
So you're obviously a relatively young company, I believe. And where are you on the growth trajectory? Where are you going in the short, medium, and I guess the longer term? What does it look like in 10 years?
So Themis incorporated in ADGM in 2020.
Right.
And we operate through Hub 71, which is a fantastic ecosystem for tech startups, fintech businesses in ADGM. We want to be the most trusted financial crime partner here in the region. So that's our ambition, and we're investing very, very heavily in this region. Now, why is that? There's a huge drive, and a very positive drive, coming from governments, from regulators such as ADGM and others, as well as the private sector, to really enhance their corporate governance and their financial crime due diligence. So we want to help as many UAE businesses as we can. And how are we going to do that? We're going to make it so easy for everybody to do due diligence on your clients, suppliers, third parties, and investors. So whether you do that as part of your everyday work life or even your home life as well, we want this to be a habit. We want this to be something that all of us do every day of our working lives and our home lives. Does that make sense?
It does. Yeah. And I think we are coming to the end. I'm simply staggered by the scale of which of the challenge you're trying to undertake. But criminals beware. Themis is one step ahead, and we're delighted to have you here at ADGM, and also thank you for giving your time to ADGM's Think series today. I hope you, the audience, have enjoyed this conversation, and I'm sure if you want to get in touch with the Themis team, please do so. We'll flash up the website at the bottom of the screen. And yeah, Dickon, thank you very much.
Chris, thank you very much. Thank you.
All the best.
Thank you.